Hey everybody, I'm Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and in this video I'm going to give you my review. Hey everybody, I am Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and in this video I'm giving you my review on He's All That. But before I do that, please remember to click that bell to get any notifications for any new interviews videos I may have on my channel. So, He's All That is a gender swapped version of She's All That from the 90s. And you know, the 90s was full of movies, teen movies, high school, coming of age, really weird, like, I don't want to say necessarily weird, but like all the themes we had in high school, like you're coming of age, you're graduating high school, you're choosing what college you want to go to. Oh, you like the popular boy from school or the popular girl from school and she don't like you back or he don't like you back, or you're kind of like the wallflower. All types of themes in 90s movies. So the original premise of She's All That was Freddie Prinze Jr., who was like a jock, decided to go on a bet with his friends to find the most ugly or weirdest girl in the school, which was Rachel Lee Cook, and transfer her into prom queen. Now, you can now break apart, and especially in 2021, all the problems related to how not only prejudice such an emphasis on prom king and queen and that whole cliquey behavior and jocks being a bit of an asshole, or like the girl who might be more focused on studies looked at, oh, she's not that desirable because she likes books, so she likes art, whatever the case may be. We can break that down in a whole different video, so I'm not going to do that because I do have my thoughts on that particular, I guess, process of how school was back then. But in this version, we have TikToker Addison Rae as Paget Sawyer, who's like a social media influencer. I believe Kourtney Kardashian makes an appearance as like one of her bosses, and you know, the guy who's supposed to be what Rachel Lee Cook was in the original, Cameron Crowder, who was played by Tanner Buchanan. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And he's like the photographer who's like dressed in all black, kind of emo, like, I don't like parties, I don't like school, I don't like friends, blah, blah, blah. You know, typical nonsense. So I was already like, I'm impartial to remakes. Most times remakes happen and they fail. And while we get lucky sometimes, like, you know, we got It, and again, me mentioning horror movies, we got It, and they did the remake, and I loved the 90s one, but the remake, not part 2, but part 1 was, outside of the times being a little bit messed up, because I didn't like that they messed up some of the times, and they took Mike's parts of how important he actually was to the story. It was good. A lot of times Hollywood like to oh, let's do something we already did and just slap a new face of cast on it and let's call it a day. And that's what I felt like. So I was already feeling a bit impartial because they decided to do it again. I'm like, do we really need this movie again? Do we need another version of this in 2021? So I feel since social media is such a big thing of everybody's lives, especially teenagers, they decided to make Paget, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, social media influencer. So she was also poor. And her mom, which is played by Rachel Lee Cook, so I guess a little ode to her since she was there. She was poor. Her mom, I'm assuming, was a nurse. So she gave me nurse vibes. She was working like these long shifts, and she would like have her friends pick her. Like she'll go all the way to this other fancy building, have her friends pick her up to pretend she had like all this money and all this other stuff to give off this persona for social media. They also like had her doing like makeup tips and everything else, and you see that she's getting followers or she's losing followers. So one of the first scenes was like her boyfriend, I think his name was Jordan, whatever. He was also a social media guy. He had like a really weird song that I thought sucked. But anyway, he was a social media person and he was cheating on her, and you see her kind of have a breakdown on like she's yelling and screaming at him publicly on like a live on one of her social medias. And so you see, like, because she did this, she's like losing like followers. And while again I do have social media because I need it I have my personal social medias, but I also have like public social medias. You know, I'm a writer, I'm a, you know, an interviewer, I'm a podcaster, so I need to, you know, have options to spread the word and share my things and interact. So I get that being important. My issue with that part, the scene of the movie, was like, he cheated on her. And yet it's like, oh my God, why are you crying? And I'm like, I get that she's an influencer, but she's also human. And I feel like, I guess that was an important part that I did stand out to me, because I do feel like social media do place these people, especially if they get like a lot of followers, they either get too big for their britches and they start not knowing how to act, and then they do and say things without repercussions, and they're like, let's tone that down a bit. Or you get people where they don't want you to be human, like you're not supposed to have any type of emotions. And I think that's an unfortunate part of social media, because I feel like it takes away a lot of the, like, granted, I have met amazing people on social media, and I've got some awesome friends through social media. You know, I got relationships out of social media, so it's not terrible, but also it takes away some of the empathy we could have. It takes away some of the more personal interactions because of this persona. So I didn't really like that. I also know Addison Rae is from TikTok, and Addison Rae is known for, unfortunately, taking dances that black women in particular have made, and she got famous off of doing things that she took from somebody else. And I can also get into another debate about that, but I won't. So anyway, that happens, and then Kourtney Kardashian's character called her and like, oh, you lost some sponsors, blah, blah, blah. And it was just, you know, it was weird. And then she had a friend, Alden or Aiden, I hope I'm saying her name right, that gave me shady vibes from the very beginning. And who's Madison Pettis, which, you know, she was in the movie with The Rock some time ago, like when she was a kid. So anyway, she gave me shady friend vibes, like you recording her having like an emotional breakdown, and like for everybody to see, know she was an influencer. And I didn't really particularly care about that. That made me like, I didn't like it. I did like her friend Quinn. One, she was a person of color, but she was very chill, very nice, very empathetic, and I liked that. So anyway, they have like this really weird thing where she's trying to get, like, I guess she has like money from the influence to go to college. And I guess to an extent, I understand wanting to go to college and wanted to have, everybody can afford college and you need options. So I get that part. I just didn't like that it was so focused on how she was portrayed to people. So she was like, oh, I can make some random dude or somebody who doesn't like he become prom king, which happened to be Cameron. And another thing about these type of movies, it's always weird when you see these people who's supposed to be like weird or ugly, and I'm like, these are regular people, and then they're not ugly. It's like, they're not even like, you know, everybody's beautiful in their own way and all, but it's like, I'd be expecting when they do all of this, like, it's supposed to be like, oh, geez, a really transformation, or all it is, oh, they got a haircut, or they changed the hairstyle and brightened up their clothes, and now everything's great. And I'm like, so that's the, I mean, I guess. But anyway, it was just, like, the acting wasn't that great to me, and, like, there was scenes where there was, like, a birthday party scene, and he was doing karaoke, and even the karaoke, she was doing some of the dances that reminded me of TikTok, and I'm like, if I'm at one of my friends' parties and we're doing karaoke, we're gonna have a good time. And I'm not gonna be worried about looking like, oh, how cute I look. We're gonna be like, hey, we're having karaoke. We singing some Backstreet Boys. We're singing some Spice Girls. We're singing some Essence. We get some wrestling songs. And that's what we're gonna be doing in karaoke. It's not this weird, like, oh, let's look pretty for the camera, because we're supposed to be having a good time, like with the friends, with the homies. So that was weird to me. So anyway, you know, it happened the way it was supposed to happen. He found out there was a bed and he got upset. And it was just this really weird, it was just this really weird thing. And I was trying to, like, I just felt I could have done so much more. Another part I really did like was Nisha, which was Cameron's best friend, who was like super sarcastic, super witty, and I believe she was like a lesbian as well. And I had her and Quinn, and I thought it was a dynamic pair up between the two of them that it worked, and that was a good part of the movie. But overall, I did not like the movie, and I really wanted to, but I did not like the movie. I felt like this was not one of those situations where the movie would end up being in 2021. There were so many ways you can go with it, and it just, for me, failed. There was so many things they could have done that they didn't do well, or they could have been used the opportunity to do better, and they didn't do that. Also, Matthew Lillard made appearance as the principal, and I actually, it was the best part of the movie, because, you know, Matthew Lillard was Shaggy, but he's also from Scream, Stu, one of the killers. You know, absolute legend in his own right. And that was nice to see, like us 80s, 90s babies who grew up watching these movies with him in it and him doing all these voice acting and all the many movies he has done and all the TV shows and voice acting that he's done. It was cool to see him in the movie, and that was honestly the best part. Seeing him make the really reference that I, being in my 30s, was making about some of the stuff they were liking, and I'm like, we here, dude. We're here. So he was the best part of the movie, but unfortunately, I did not like the movie. I felt like we didn't need it. I feel like if there's too many talented writers out there, that somebody find the writer. Hello, I'm one. I will give you a screenplay if that's what you want. To please just get some creativity in Hollywood. Can we stop remaking the same thing? I love YA coming of age stories. I like stories about friendships and trying to figure out who you are. I just feel like we need to use new ideas and stop redoing and retelling the same story over and over and over and over. Because it's like, all right, where's the creativity? So I personally did not like the movie. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm definitely not watching it again. But you guys tell me in the comments what you think. Did you like the movie? Did you even watch the movie? I would love to read them. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.